everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome into Attacking Third alongside Darian Jenkins and Christine Cupo. I'm Lisa Carlin. We have massive breaking news this morning as U.S. Women's National Team legend Alex Morgan has announced her retirement from the game. In a post on social media, Alex Morgan put out that San Diego's Waves match against North Carolina Courage on Sunday is going to be her last as she is expecting a child. Initial reactions from both of you on this huge news.
Go ahead, Christine. It's a lot fast. It feels like, I know it probably has been on her mind for quite some time. She did say that she was planning on it, but for us, it feels very abrupt. She's a Goliath in this game. She's meant so much on and off the field. I thought about it a little bit. I saw her in the 2011 World Cup final. I saw her again at the 2015 World Cup final. And to see her like the start of her career and know that she's sort of retiring now, it kind of surreal. I kind of feel like I watched her grow up, even though, I wasn't
for sure
that much older than she is.
I mean, she was the face of U.S. soccer for
the last decade.
At least the last decade. Since 2011, 2012, that's when she got her first call up, and then that iconic pink pre-wrap.
Yeah, she's had such an impact on the game, both her playing and also just her the way that she stood up in her role as a leader in helping with, fighting for equal pay, in helping with NWSL. She's done so much, and I feel like the lasting effect will not be seen for quite some time.
What was your initial reaction, Darian, when you heard this news this morning?
It was bittersweet because she's one of those players that you don't ever see leaving the game. It's a shock because you can't really imagine the game, at least I think for us, like we grew up watching Alex Morgan. Totally. I said on a show earlier that I went to a camp and have a picture between her and Hope Solo, and I'm like, my teeth are giant and I have acne, a crazy time in my life. But she has just been she is an icon and has been for so long that it seems surreal that she's not going to be in the game, that we're not going to be talking about Alex Morgan around NWSL and U.S. Women's National Team as a player. But I think she's left a massive mark on the game. She's left it so much better than when she entered the professional space on a domestic level and a women's national team level. But I'm also very happy for her. I mean, that video for her to then announce that Charlie's going to be a big sister is
exciting.
So sweet. And the fact that she's able to retire on her own terms and grow her family, and she's a healthy woman, and just leave the game better than when she found it, I think is really, really beautiful, because a lot of players don't get that opportunity. And there's so many adjectives we could use to describe her.
Legend, superhero, mom, right? But she definitely changed the game. Charlie Davies was just asking me about this. Like, where does she rate in terms of legends, essentially, of U.S. soccer? And I rate her so high because of how I grew up watching her.
Yes, exactly.
Because of how old I am, Darian, you too, like Christine, right? These are the women, and that is the age group that we watched for 10 years dominate, put women's football on the map. I wasn't really paying attention in the 1999 World Cup. I was 4 years old. I wasn't watching that. I was watching Alex Morgan. I was watching her in London at the Olympics and at the World Cup, and watching her grow up and shaping the way I wanted to play and how I wanted to play football, and the fact that I wanted to play in general.
Even the opportunity to play. Yeah. She gave the visibility that this is possible. Before her, there wasn't the most visible pathway to getting to that level. And I think because she has been the face of U.S. soccer for so long, and in an era with social media and where we're actually able to follow players.
Right, she made herself accessible to fans.
She made herself so vulnerable, accessible, looked out for players and fans, and just created so much visibility and opportunity for the sport in general. I mean, even her saying Charlie is 4 years old and says she wants to grow up and be a soccer player.
Yeah,
Chills.
Because she's witnessed it herself.
It's kind of interesting because it's not even just her being able to witness it. It's like her mom carved that out. She came to age in sort of pro soccer during a period of time, especially for women, where it wasn't super realistic to think that you could just pursue a professional soccer career. You had to have another job. The fact that we're in 2024 and she can make a decision like this to retire and know that she can be a full-time mom comfortably is also remarkable for a professional soccer player of her length of time in her career, because it's very unheard of. There's always, what's the next step? What's my next job? How do I do this? And there are new pathways, but she's also helped create those pathways.
And she gets to retire now at home, where she calls home in San Diego. And when she first joined the San Diego Wave 3 years ago, she was their marquee signing. And this past season, with the Wave, she started the year winning the NWSL Challenge Cup, scoring the game-winning goal against Gotham. And since then, throughout this NWSL season with San Diego, has played in 12 matches and 1 assist. Darian, how would you rate her performance at the club level this year?
Oh, it's brutal when there's so many things out of your control happening at your club. I think we've seen many clubs that turn successful or were successful turn to struggle. We're seeing that with Portland right now. They dominate, and San Diego did. They were so difficult to play against the first 2 years, and they just dropped off. And it sucks that players suffer from that. You do. You lose chemistry. You lose confidence in your ability to score goals of just how your playing style is. And I think that that's why we didn't see the same amount of goals or assists, or just her being able to really affect the game as much as we're used to seeing with Alex Morgan. I think if she were on a different team, she would be racking up numbers with goals and assists.
Absolutely.
Casey Stoney, the head coach at San Diego, did put out a tweet after this talking about how she is the most professional athlete that Casey Stoney has ever had the pleasure to work with. And although Stoney is no longer at San Diego Wave, clearly, Darian, she's still a fan of Morgan, and they have a good relationship.
That was beautiful to see, that because Casey Stoney, there's so many question marks around her being let go, but knowing that there isn't any bad blood. There's nothing between the legend of Alex Morgan and Casey Stoney, and both incredibly professional women that have done a lot for the sport and a lot for San Diego. And seeing her just wish her well and talk about what an incredible athlete and human being she is made my heart happy for them.
It's so cool. We are going to talk in depth with Sandra Herrera about Alex Morgan's legacy at club, at country, everything that she's done on and off the pitch. But Christine, when you think about this snapshot of Alex Morgan's last year at the international level with the U.S. women's national team, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Earlier in February, she was not named to the initial W Gold Cup roster. Ultimately, some injuries happen. She gets called up, and Alex Morgan proves herself. She gets a goal in the Argentina match in the group stage. She continues to be a bright light for this U.S. side, and she proved herself in the W Gold Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think roller coaster is a great way to put it. Obviously, we know that she was omitted from the Olympics roster, and that was surely a big hit for her, especially probably now in retrospect. There probably was a plan at hand. But Alex Morgan has proven that she can serve more than one role, and she absolutely would come up with assists, can string play together, help progress play, not just a goal scorer, but she still can make an impact when she's relied upon. And I think that sort of initial omission for W Gold Cup just kind of spurred her on further.
And ultimately, she doesn't make the Olympics roster, Darian, but it's bittersweet. Now you have to think in hindsight, she's found a little bit of closure, being able to announce her pregnancy and say goodbye and do it really all on her own terms.
All on her own terms is the biggest key. Not being forced out of the game. It's not as if Alex Morgan wasn't going to be a huge name if she continued playing the rest of the year or the following.
I thought she was going to get another senior national team call-up.
I thought so too. I thought she'll surely be in the next camp. But I think it's a beautiful thing that she's able to make this decision on her own, grow her family, keep her health, and continue investing into the women's game on the business side and just sticking up for players in the NWSL and globally. I love this for her. I think this is monumental, and to see her go out that way is
totally.
It's honestly perfect poetry. And yes, with the Olympics, it was really sad to see her not make that roster. But I think this probably was the poetic way for her to bow out of the game, and because she's inspired the next generation of players that kind of took her spot that we were wondering if she was going to make it. It was perfect for her to step away at that point.
Alex Morgan's retirement comes pretty immediately. Her final match with San Diego Wave will be on this Sunday against North Carolina Courage, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch it right here on the Golazo Network. But this is her final match, Christine. It's at home at Snapdragon Stadium. She gets to go out with a bang. How much does that change San Diego's game plan with all of the emotions around this goodbye?
I don't think San Diego Wave have an easy go of it. Nevertheless, just with all of the managerial shifts and just trying to come into their own again this season. But I can guarantee that every single one of her teammates will be playing their heart out for her.
They're going to be bombing balls forward. Alex Morgan, get in the 18. Get your noggin
Alex
ready.
Morgan hat
We're
trick,
going to whip
go.
some balls in. Get a goal for your last match. I hope she scores. I hope she scores.
I hope so too. That would be cool. How many players are going to be wearing pink pre-wrap?
Everybody.
Everybody should be.
It's going to, the stands,
I'll wear
the
pink
stands
pre-wrap.
are going to be coated in pink pre-wrap.
Yeah, I'm going to wear pink pre-wrap covering the game, I think.
I
don't have pink
I'm not going to commit to it because
I don't think I have any. I need to get some.
I definitely do, and especially since I haven't been able to
get some
use
of
it in the
this.
last year, I think I can pass you my role. But
Yeah, it is very emotional to hear this and to see it, but one more chance to watch Alex Morgan at Snapdragon Stadium. Get your tickets, get out to that game, and if you can't, you can watch that match right here on the Golazo Network. Tune in to Alex Morgan's last game when the San Diego Wave take on the North Carolina Courage Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on the Golazo Network. Sandra Herrera is joining us next, and we're talking Alex Morgan's legacy. Welcome back into Attacking Third. The biggest news of the day, Alex Morgan, U.S. Women's National Team legend and forward with the San Diego Wave, has announced her retirement. Her final match with the Wave will be on Sunday against North Carolina Courage. A lot of emotions swirling around. And for more on this, we welcome in the fourth member of our crew, Sandra Herrera, to chat about this. Sandra, good morning. I believe you're the first one that dropped Alex Morgan's video tweet into our group chat. Obviously, it's a Sandra bomb. She tells us all of our news always. But what were your initial reactions when you saw Alex Morgan's video?
Honestly, like, shout out to the group chat, because that was a little bit of emotional support for me. I was like, I need others to react to with this. So thank you all for also being there. But that's part of the gig, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to anything and everything. To be honest, I feel like I'm still processing a little bit. I don't think the concept of retirement for Alex Morgan or players of this particular generation is the part that is surprising or shocking. I just don't think that any of us were actually ready to process this today. But this is sometimes how things are built, right? The most organic kind of way. And now here we are reacting to this legend and her departure from the game.
Yeah, Darian talked so much about that in our first segment, about how it's really special that she gets to do this on her own terms and really say goodbye the way she wants to and the way she can allow herself to do. But Sandra, at the international level with the U.S. Women's National Team, I mean, she's a legend. She's a legend. She's been the face of U.S. soccer for so long. What do you think of when you think of Morgan's international legacy?
I just think of like how much of her moments have spanned from just like really big, significant moments on the international stage and all those really little intricate things in between. So much of the framing around this player and really, quite frankly, players of this particular generation who will go through retiring processes or have already announced retirements. They'll be the ones that we take a look at, and we have that framing where it's like, here is two-time World Cup winning insert player here. That's how magnificent this era of players is, and Alex Morgan is a huge part of that. So she has all of these moments, whether they're in World Cup tournaments or Olympic tournaments, but there's all these little things in between too. I'm still looking for my fellow nerds to maybe kind of develop that stat that I always refer to as the Alex Morgan go out there and get your butt beat challenge, because all of this work that she would also do off of the ball is along with her assisting and her goal scoring. She definitely took a lot of punishment out there to try to help open up lanes in the final third for others as well. And that, I think, was also pretty reflective of what she did on the pitch was reflective of what she did off the pitch. She was always trying to be that person to help make the team better in multiple ways, whether that was scoring those goals, setting them up, or helping to lead the charge and championing other issues off the pitch as well.
yeah, Sandra, I've already cried twice. So since the group chat grenade that you dropped, but to your point, like, I'm just thinking back to even like the 2011 World Cup final. I remember the buzz around Alex Morgan, just, oh, this young, scrappy, like, she's really good, watch for her. And then her being able to create an impact in the final. Just reminiscing a little bit, but did you ever foresee that she would become the player that she is in 2024? That entire legacy of footballing and also just like activism?
Yeah, some players just have the buzz about them, and I think we really saw something special in those early moments with Alex Morgan on the pitch, and we knew that she was going to be such a special player. But to know that she was going to go on to be such a special person and teammate, I think you never really know that until people show us who they are. And thankfully for Alex Morgan, she didn't shy away from them. This is the player that was winning at the international level, along with club as well. I mean, she won club championships with the Western New York Flash. Shout out WPS. I mean, she's a 2023 Shield winner with the Wave, and an NWSL championship in 2013 with the Thorns. But I think we can't talk about these periods of times without talking about the things that she did during those moments. I mean, so often we're going to, again, talk about the fact that these types of players, this generation of players, were World Cup winning champions, and maybe some of them even Olympians. But the efforts that they made and generated on and off the pitch are much bigger, in my opinion. We're talking about players that really had to take a giant leap of faith when it came to founding the NWSL, because this is the generation of players that were told that WPS was going to be it, and then all of a sudden that was a failed attempt. So we're talking with clasped hands, full eyes, saying, yes, we will commit to another women's domestic league, knowing that it was going to take a lot of balancing and getting the footing beneath them. And Alex Morgan, when we look at her history, we're going to not only see all of these titles and all of these championships and medals that she's won, but all of the strides that she's helped make for women's soccer along the way with this particular specific generation of players that we find ourselves talking about a lot more frequently in terms of these retirements. We're talking about minimum standards for NWSL clubs, helping, celebrate CBAs that didn't exist before 2022. And now we're just a week removed from celebrating a 2.0 version of that, so incredible stuff from her. Yes, on the winner's podium, but so much more off of that as well.
There's so much that Alex Morgan has done. And one of those things, Sandra, is that you touched on is all the work that she did off the pitch, specifically in the United States and in the NWSL, because remember back to 2021 when there was this huge movement to kind of pick out all the bad, abusive coaches and everything that was wrong in the NWSL. She was a huge catalyst for all of that change. Darian, as a player playing during that time, how much did she change the game for you?
Massively. Think about, we're, as women know, being in a workspace where you feel like you don't have enough power or say to get things done, but you know that there's wrongdoing being done, and you need somebody to reach down and help you, or reach next to them and help you. Alex Morgan has done that because she has the massive platform that she's always had, and to use that to help Mana Shim, to force the NWSL to make an anti-harassment policy, to get an HR freaking department in the league is insane. And she put her reputation, her sources, her power, her platform on the line to support the players to do that. We can talk about all of the amazing things that she's done on the field, or, maybe when she's not involved in camps or whatever. She has always done what's best for the players and for the league and for her teammates in future generations. And I think that that's really what her legacy is to me, because thinking about that time, I've had a plethora of abusive coaches in the NWSL. She was the catalyst by using her name and her power to finally affect change. And I think, to me, that's the most important, impactful part of her legacy moving forward.
Absolutely. As a superstar, let's be honest, let's call her what she is.
Yeah.
It's so easy to stay in your own bubble and to focus on what you can do, right? Even her fight off the field with U.S. women's national team for equal pay, that benefited her. Reaching out to the NWSL and asking for a handbook in 2021, that was 8 pages long. And now you think about the league has just reinstated its second edition of the CBA.
Right. The most player-forward focused CBA possibly in most sports globally. So, I still think it's wild when you point out that there was no HR.
Well, think about it. I was never on the full national team. Rarely players are. It's very few and far in between that get to do that. Your voice isn't heard, especially at that point in the league. You're lucky to be playing is what you're told. You're lucky you have an opportunity or that you're on a team. She took everything she had and used her name to actually affect change I don't think so much of this would have happened if she didn't support Mana Shim and come out, help with Sally Yates, help with the HR. It's incredible what she's done.
To be honest, the conversations that were happening between Mana Shim and the NWSL or attorneys were falling on deaf ears until Alex Morgan got involved. Until she signed off, until she put out the tweet that said, hey, Lisa Baird, former NWSL commissioner, we did send you this email. Sandra, you remember when all of that happened and how involved Morgan was with the change in the NWSL.
How could I forget? Lisa, I remember when we launched Attacking Third, and I felt like we were doing a reactive episode to this type of news almost day in and day out. It was the news cycle around that time was constant, but it was also necessary, right, to help enact change. And I think that's also where I'm myself am so grateful to Alex Morgan and in this particular generation of players, because they also kind of reshaped how media coverage of this league could kind of look like. A lot of times you can go back and find just blips of coverage of NWSL specifically. I remember when just seeing the doom and gloom type of headlines around the league, and now you're starting to see different type of coverage reflected of this league. So they really helped kind of raise up the level of everything when it comes to women's pro soccer in this country. And I would include the way the style of play looks now, the way there are minimum standards, the way there are new CBAs, and the way that there's massive coverage of the sport now.
For me, a big thing that we have to touch on is thinking about how she's impacted our generations, older generations, but especially the kids that have looked up to her, followed her career, and the massive impact that she's leaving, the opportunity, the pathway that, hey, we can do this. This is how it's accessible. I can see myself in you, and look at these players' faces, like just dying to get photos of her, not players, sorry, these kids' faces, these adults' faces, just being so inspired by her game, what she's done on and off the field. I think she's left such an impact on the global women's soccer world than she possibly could have ever imagined.
She did so much. I mean, players line up to get her autograph, to wear number 13, to wear the pink pre-wrap. Her legacy will continue to go on and have such a ripple effect throughout soccer globally, as we've already seen it do. Congratulations, Alex Morgan. We'll see you on Sunday. Big game for Alex Morgan. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more Attacking Third. We're talking the latest news and everything that's happened in the world of women's football. The Washington Spirit announced on Wednesday that midfielder Croy Bethune will miss the remainder of the 2024 season after suffering a torn meniscus away from training last week. Spirit head coach Jonathan Giraldez confirmed that the injury did take place while Bethune was throwing out the first pitch at the Washington Nationals MLB game. So now the Olympic gold medalist has underwent knee surgery, and she will remain with the team through recoveries, coming off of 3 ACL injuries in college for Bethune, and now this. Your heart breaks.
Yeah, I have goosebumps. This is sad for Croy. I mean, she's coming off of an incredible year, and this doesn't undercut that in any sort of way. I mean, Rookie of the, she just got announced as Rookie of the Month. All of the accolades she has, I still believe fully that she'll be Rookie of the Year. There's no contest in my opinion. She left her mark in this amount of time is pretty freaking incredible, and I hope that she doesn't forget that, because this isn't the end for her. I know she's going to come back stronger. She's overcome 3 ACLs, which is insane. She knows this rehab process. She knows her body. It's unfortunate, but I think this is only going to make her stronger going forward. And yeah, this isn't the end we're seeing of Croy Bethune, but my heart does go out for her.
And she's young. Her body can bounce back.
This just makes me angry for her more than anything. It's frustrating. It's a familiar frustration. I hope she has a speedy recovery, but it's just unfortunate because she just seemed like she was everything, the stars aligned, and she was like cooking. And you're like, let's see what she can do. I mean, even us with like our little jokey bet on like assists and goals for her for the rest of the season. Like
everyone loved watching her.
Yes, she just adds so much to the game. She's just enjoyable to watch play. She has like joy in her feet, and she's just so decisive. She's a great player, and she'll be missed through the rest of the season.
She's so kind too. She's such a sweetheart. Right after she got drafted 3rd overall, we got to interview her, and she was the most polite, excited player I've ever talked to. hands down. And this is a little bit of adversity. I mean, she's been through enough. She doesn't need any more, but it always changes you as a player, and it makes you get out there a little bit differently the next time. You don't take it for granted. You continue to grind, and now to be able to watch her team finish out the season on the sidelines will give her a different perspective that frankly she hasn't had yet this year, because she came in and she was an immediate starter and an impact player on this team. She's going to learn a lot being on the sidelines with this coaching staff.
Absolutely. Under Jonathan Heraldez, Adrian Gonzalez, she is going to learn a ton. You said it very well, Lisa. And something to think about, too, is she's going to come back and have a full year. She has a great medical staff. Yeah. I'm already
excited for next year.
Because you know she's going to come back. Yes, this is a brutal time, but the offseason is going to be the perfect landing strip for her to then go into season full swing, strong. How strong you are after doing rehab. And I love that she's a part of U.S. Soccer now, because now you have the best doctors in the world, the best rehab specialists, the best trainers working with you to get you back to 100%. Not that college or whenever she tore her ACLs isn't, but now you have people solely focused on you because you're a professional and because you're the future of U.S. soccer in the midfield, in my opinion. She's going to come back amazing.
And this is her full-time job now, is to get better. In college, you're also a student, and you're trying to become a woman, and you have a social life. Like, it's all her
I think
now.
Knowing that she has the resilience she does and the mental toughness, paired with the fact that now she also has the access to the best of the best to get her back, she couldn't be in a better position. And so obviously all of us are rooting for her, but we'll miss her.
Of course we will. Wishing you all the best, Croy Bethune, and a very speedy recovery. Some other news that dropped earlier this week is that the Ballon d'Or shortlist for the nominees has been released. Reigning Champions League winners Barcelona, they lead the list with 6 nominees, including 2023 winner Aitana Bonmatí. Super League, they have 7 players featured, including 3 Lionesses, Lucy Bronze, Lauren James, and a couple more on this list. We've also got NWSL represented by 6 players. U.S. women's national team has 5. That includes Lindsay Horan with Lyon. The winners will be announced in Paris on October 28th as we take a look at all the list. The biggest name missing, Naomi Girma, U.S. women's national team, San Diego Wave defender. Where the heck is she?
Good question. Very good question. Yeah.
Balling out.
I don't know.
Balling out per usual.
Perhaps they haven't heard of this place called San Diego to tune in and watch her or show up and watch her play. I don't know. It's insane. Girma belongs on this list. I think there's a number of names that I could probably rattle off that I'd be like, well, why not her? But like Girma is absolutely like, this is insane. She is the best defender in the world. How do you omit her from the Ballon d'Or?
I mean, she's won everything else at this rate, domestically, internationally, besides the World Cup, but how do you not even consider? She should be the first name that pops into your head when you're thinking of defenders to put on this list.
How do you not even consider the U.S. Soccer Female Player of the Year on this list, right? That's who she is. She's the reigning U.S. Soccer Female Player of the Year. It's absolutely crazy.
Like every minute at the Olympics.
I know.
Like, oh my God, what an oversight.
It's absolutely crazy. We aren't the only people that were appalled that Girma is not on this list. Twitter went crazy after this list was dropped and Girma's name was not on it, including her own coach, or former coach at San Diego Wave, Casey Stoney, who put out a tweet as well saying, hey, what is this based on? The one name that should be on this list isn't on here. Laura Harvey also put out a tweet, a coach of Seattle Reign in the NWSL, and then Jess Fishlock, who is the Welsh international and midfielder at Seattle Reign, all appalled that Girma is not on this list. Christine, you mentioned that there are a couple other names you could rattle off. Who else maybe got snubbed from this list?
I mean, granted, I think I would be up in arms if we do not see her on the 25 list, because I do understand the criteria, but like Temwa Chawinga, I know Tabitha made the list, but Temwa Chawinga, even when she was playing in China, was lighting things up. So it begs the question, like, where is she in this grand scheme of things?
Dee, who would you have liked to see included?
I'm going to go Diagne.
It's a good one.
French player. How she's leading goal scorer. She's so effective. Both teams that she's on, the France and PSG, how is she not included on this list? I think there's a lot of oversight and some questionable ones that I'm like, I wonder what the criteria exactly is to make it on this. because there were a lot of snubs. I mean, extend the list. Sure,
they're just nominees.
Show your work.
Put them all on there.
Why not? Lisa Carlin
Where are
on
the
there.
other ones?
Come on.
Hey, Stanford FC. We go hard.
Stan Vegas. Isn't that what you call it?
Stan Vegas. Yeah, I like that. We should change our name, guys. Stan Vegas FC. Well, Ballon d'Or also put out their Coach of the Year nominees for this year, and there are some big names on this list. Sonia Bonpastor, Artur Elias, who is with Brazil, Jonathan Giraldez for his time with Spain winning the World Cup. He is now at Washington Spirit. Emma Hayes, her time with Chelsea in the Super League, but also with the U.S. And then, of course, Serena Wegman, who is the Netherlands coach. They've also put out their Club of the Year nominees. Some big names on this list. No surprise, we see Barcelona there, Chelsea, the dominant club in England, PSG, Lyon, and New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. The little club that plays in Red Bull Arena, so deserving to be on this list, Darian.
Absolutely. I mean, I think with the new investment, Coach Juan Carlos Amorós coming in, the players that they've acquired, Sky Blue was not a club you wanted to go to. I won't lie. As a player, that was not a place you wanted to go. The rebrand, the ownership, the real investment, it's totally turned this club around. And then coming from worst to first and winning the championship last year, like a very poetic ending to 2023 for them. I think it's very deserved because they've come a long way where most clubs take a lot more time to get to this point.
I mean, Gotham absolutely crushed it last year. It's no wonder they're on there.
Remember that whole last to first run? Like, that was, I'm still.
Okay, let's really not forget, they almost lost their marbles on the last day of the year and got knocked out of the playoff run.
They waited until the last minute.
And they were in like fourth.
All of the odds.
And they decided, we're just going to play it easy on the last day and drop all the way. They could have clinched.
Like 4 games prior.
And they wanted to keep us all on our toes.
Yeah, they wanted to
have fun with us.
The hard way. I get it.
The drama. I'm here for it. Yeah. It was stressful on the front office side, but it was fun.
It was very entertaining to watch and cover that last year. I mean, all of it. The last 2 years, congratulations to all the players nominated, the coaches and the clubs, especially Gotham FC. I know Juan Carlos Amorós put out a tweet saying how proud he was of his team and his club. Don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more Attacking Third. We've got NWSL weekend preview coming up next. You're not going to want to miss it. NWSL Matchday 19 features kickoff on Friday. Angel City against Seattle Reign. It's their first meeting of the season. Saturday, we've got Washington against Portland. That match on Big CBS at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday, Gotham FC take on Houston Dash. The Red Stars take on Orlando Pride, the undefeated Pride. And in Alex Morgan's final game of her career at Snapdragon Stadium with the San Diego Wave, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern against the North Carolina Courage, and you can watch all that coverage on the Golazo Network. Let's preview some of these matches, including one of the biggest ones that we have, Washington against Portland. They did meet earlier in the season in May, Portland winning 2-1 over the Washington Spirit. And since then, Portland has had a bit of an up and down season. They only have 1 win in their last 6 matches, Christine. How do the Thorns turn it around this weekend?
They have. I think that with Summer Cup and also now, God, the way too long. What is
Champions
it?
Champions
there
Cup.
There we go. That. We need an abbreviation for me for that. Coming off a win there, I think they still have the fire in their bellies to get it done. I think it's just a matter of just correcting and getting it back to the organized state that Rob Gale had turned them into when he first took them over. I haven't counted them out just yet. Washington Spirit obviously are a strong team. They should be a little bit scary for them to come up against. But even more reason to just review your tactics and how you're going to approach this match.
Although Washington is so strong, Darian, they've been conceding goals. When you look at their last 5 matches, they haven't had a clean sheet. So that's a little bit promising for Portland in the attack.
It's a promise.
Am I fishing over here?
I think you're looking for something. You're grasping at straws. I don't think Portland are going to be able to really take it to Spirit. Spirit, for me, are just at this apex in the season where they're on fire into the attack. Yes, Corey Bethune is not there, but they did really, really well by bringing in Lacey Santos, who can fill into that 10 position, who is so technical, has great vision, can thread a ball through passing lanes. Ule Sarr is on fire right now. Trinity Rodman looks good. I mean, this is a yacked front line for the Washington Spirit, and Portland defensively have been quite in shambles, not just in their back line, but all over the field. They always look like you're a step behind when you defend regardless, but they look like they're all having different ideas of how to approach team defending. That is not something that you can let slip when you're playing a team like the Spirit. I expect Spirit to kind of punch him in the mouth in this match.
No Croy Bethune for Washington Spirit. She's now on the SEI list. Who has to step up, Christine, for this Washington side?
I think Sarr's been doing a great job. I mean, especially with Trinity, but Lacey Santos, the very quick, I'd say, integration, and she's been really smooth. Even in their friendly, ahead of her actually making her league debut, looked really solid. So I feel like they're in a good place just as a team.
Yeah, I would say so. We'll see that big match happening on Saturday at 12:30. You can watch it on CBS. Another big one is number 8 Bay FC against number 10 Racing Louisville. Bay FC. I don't know what's happening. That's why you guys are here, to tell me what the heck is happening, because they're coming off a huge 3-1 win over Portland last weekend. They are at home at PayPal Park, but they haven't kept a clean sheet in 6 matches. Darian, what's the number one thing Bay needs to carry over from last week to pick up points against Louisville?
Putting away their chances, but ultimately, I love these matches because this is what the NWSL is about, baby. Bay FC versus Louisville, fighting for a playoff position. Both teams conceding a lot of goals, not really playing a full 90-minute match, but we're seeing those connections in the attack come together, so they're scoring goals. But these are games where you aren't sure what's going to happen. It's whoever puts them away on the day and has a little bit more of a team win. They're both not playing the most beautiful soccer. I think both still trying to develop what that identity is. I mean, both coaches talked in kind of lofty terms about their style of play and how they operate. I wonder if we'll see that edge, that bite of this is what this team's DNA is going forward. Going into playoffs, we're going to be that team to do it, because it's getting
crunch
close,
time right now.
and that's why these matches are so fun, because you really see who has that dog in them.
It is absolutely crunch time, Christine. Louisville is at 8, or Bay is at 8th. Louisville is at 10th. Racing needs points.
Oh,
right
absolutely.
now.
And I think they made that clear, that they understood that. Bev Yanez, with the signings that she made very, very recently. So Balser coming in to add that reinforcement of firepower to ensure they are finding the back of the net, because they do have those goal scoring problems. But even picking up Courtney Peterson to reinforce that defense that we knew she really needed to fill in, that once they traded away Carson, I think they have the personnel finally. Let's see them implement.
Have they had enough time to put the new personnel together?
It's been, 1 week now? Yeah, 1 match week where they're all together as a collective. They may need a little bit more time, but I think Bev Yanez knows there's urgency and there isn't time to be had. I think the trainings are probably really wild in Louisville right now. I'd like to just jump in and see what happens.
I'm like the ominous Cheshire cat over here. The clock is
Also grasping
at something over here.
I don't know.
Listen to this fun fact. I love our research team. Shout out Adriana. Bay FC is the only NWSL team to not have a draw this year. Meanwhile, Racing Louisville is tied for the most with 7 draws. What are the odds it's a draw?
Louisville loves to draw. The default is to draw for Louisville. Ever since their inception, that's brutal to me. That's worse than a loss of having so many draws and Bay to never have any. That's pretty funny.
Exactly. And Louisville, just look at Orlando last year. They didn't have enough draws, right? They had too many losses that didn't push them over the playoff line. With 10 wins, they didn't make the postseason. So crunch time for Bay and for Louisville. There's a lot on the line between these two sides. Another big matchup, the first of the season, between Angel City and Seattle Reign. It is at BMO Stadium in LA. Angel City is on this 2-match win streak. Alyssa Thompson, 3 goals in just 2 matches. They sit in 9th place, and they have to pick up points to stay in playoff contention. I mean, it is the playoff push right now, Darian. But whose shoulders does it fall on for Angel City?
Oh, Alyssa Thompson and Claire Emsley for me. These are 2 players that can turn a game on its head when they're in good form, when they're feeling confident. As an attacker, I feel like your confidence is easy to shake up when things aren't going your way. I think we've seen both of those players actually struggle when a shot is missed or something's just a little bit off and they kind of fall away from the game, Alyssa Thompson's on fire. Claire Emsley looks great. Those two can really dictate the game on the wing spaces, and especially going against a Seattle backline, who I don't think can withstand that pace. They can really take advantage of it. But on the other side, Seattle, G? Oh, G? How are you going to stop G? I don't know. Watching her come in against Louisville was so impressive to me. Seattle was missing some edge, somebody to have some audacity to take shots, to throw their body on the line, the smallest player on the field getting on the end of a corner and it resulting in a goal. I mean, she is the player for me that can really lead Seattle to a win in this match.
Seattle needs someone to take charge, Christine, because
they do.
The Reign have only picked up 4 points on the road this year, and then they travel to LA.
They haven't had teeth this whole season, but I think, unfortunately for the Reign, I think that Angel City are on an upswing, and I do think Alyssa Thompson is rightfully feeling herself. They're going to have to do battle.
It'll be big. It's going to be hard, too, for Seattle to go into BMO and play against an in-form Angel City side. How does Laura Harvey and the Seattle Reign side need to shape their mindset on the road in this big matchup?
I mean, I feel like they have been very up and down all season long, and there hasn't been this equilibrium. I know, obviously, Laura Harvey was out this last match with illness, and they managed to turn it out, I guess, maybe in her absence. I think maybe stay the course, but acknowledging that Angel City very much have playoffs in mind. So
it's a little bit of like disrupt, but also play your own game.
I think they need to maintain that grittiness that they proved in the second half of the match against Louisville and bring that from the jump against Angel City. BMO's a difficult stadium to play at. The atmosphere is heavy. Everyone's booing you, cheering against you. Need to come out and have that bite.
They did it last week against Louisville, as you said, a come from behind 3-2 win for the Reign. Can they make it a streak? What makes it a streak? 2 games, 3 games?
We can give them a streak with 2 because it's been rough.
That is grasping for straws. Don't go anywhere. We are creating free agency starting 11. We're going to have a little fun with it. Stick with us. Welcome back to Attacking Third. Here's a look at some of the notable free agents in the NWSL, and this is, of course, after the 2024 season. There is a lot of big names on the overall list. Some of them have already been signed, so they have been taken off the list for this fun little exercise that we get to do. So we are creating our Attacking Third free agency 11. So 11 players in a formation that we roll out based solely on free agents. And our producer broke it up. So I've got defenders and goalkeepers. Christine's got our midfield. And Darian's got our forwards. And this was a fun little exercise that we got to do. And we get to take a look at it right now. I'll start in the back. Alyssa Nair as our free agency goalkeeper, and then across the back line, Kelly Hubley, Sam Hyatt, Abby Urseg, and Natalie Jacobs. A really good mix of veterans, a little bit of youth in there with Sam Hyatt. We've got players that can play center back and outside back.
So I wish this was in formation settings so I could actually see where you put the 4 center backs.
I did have a bit of confusion with the exercise today that we were doing.
We're rocking with it. I rock with you. We're rocking with it.
So we can play in a 3-back. We could play in a 4-back. We could do a lot of different things. Sam Hyatt's going to be on the outside. I can also put Natalie Jacobs on the outside back as well. Yeah, Jacobs on the left, Hyatt on the right, Urseg and Hubley in the middle. And we're going to be breaking lines. We're going to be sending crosses in. We're going to be the best 1v1 defending free agency team out there.
I mean, that's a great back line for set pieces, too, and corners.
We're going to score all the goals.
Yeah.
We don't even need your forwards, Darian. All right, Christine, who'd you put in the midfield?
Okay, my midfield, the quintessential Vanessa DiBernardo, who I love, who has been integral to the success over at KC. 5 assists, 4 goals this season, despite a few niggling injuries. But absolutely perfect in my opinion. Danny Colaprico for San Diego Wave, who's super important to any of the success that squad had this season. Again, someone that was taken out a bit for injuries, but like really good at like stepping, stifling play, giving you what you need. And then of course, Narumi who is capable of being box to box, but also can work that 6 position quite well. Great at breaking up play, and then just redistribution. Her passing is beautiful.
This is a good midfield, especially because DiBernardo and Colaprico played together for years at Chicago, so they've got a little,
it's almost like Chicago knew what they were doing
in the midfield. All right, Z, take us through your front line.
All right, let's go Claire Emsley on the right side and Caroline on the left, Kristen Hamilton at the 9. Kristen Hamilton, I'll start with her, hasn't had a lot of minutes this season with Kansas City. That is a tough lineup to break into, but this is a player that is really gritty, knows how to finish. She will put life and limb on the line defensively and in the attack for a team. The reigning MVP, Caroline. Give her space in a wide channel. Let her be that false 9 that comes in underneath Kristen Hamilton, that combination play. Her and Emsley can just have this like beautiful little...
You look like a conductor.
A conductor, yeah. That's exactly what they would do in those positions. If I were looking for players to bring in and I could pick a trio of forwards, that would be my trio. You have a lot of experience. You have set piece aficionados, 1v1 artists. That would be a dominating front line.
So we came up with our 11. Who would be our coach?
Ooh.
I say Casey Stoney.
Oh, I thought we were nominating ourselves.
All right, Darian can coach.
You can be the GM. You can be the GM.
That's not that fun.
Okay, not that fun.
I want Casey Stoney out there.
Twyla Kilgore.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Those are 2 really good picks. Now I'm just like mentally
Nominate yourself
how do we
like Darian.
get money and get an expansion side? Because we obviously have our picks for a team together. We just need a name and some money.
Ooh, we could do it. And then it's based in Philly.
No.
Okay. I guess I'll concede. We have the midfield I want.
One day we'll get there. One day we'll be head coaches and GMs and we'll do all the things. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Don't forget Alex Morgan in her final match this weekend, Sunday, with the Wave against North Carolina. We'll see you there and we'll see you back on Monday. Have a great weekend.